Hello everybody, I'm going to do a real-time product review on this Boeshield's rust-free. I was using another product. I cannot seem to find my bottle, but I believe it was called Top Saver, I think, that I purchased at Woodcraft several years ago to remove rust off like a cast iron tabletop, on whatever, table saw for example, which is what we're going to be using this on. And this primary ingredient in this is phosphoric acid, and it's got some form of alcohol in it and something else in there as well, ethanol. And we're going to give this a shot and see how it works, and I'll show what we'll be working with. I kind of had an oversight in my duties on my maintenance, so it kind of got out from me. And then I also use this Boeshield T9. I like this. This is basically like a liquid paraffin wax. If you want to coat the top of your table saw, it is a corrosion protection, but you put it on there and wipe it out into a thin coat, and it makes your tabletop slick and it gives it a little bit of rust protection. But let me get up in front of the saw and I'll show you what we're working with. Okay, well here's basically what we're working with. I really don't know how much this is going to show up on the camera, but you can definitely see areas of this saw where things have just gotten away from me. I usually keep this, I keep this in the shop where I am now, but I've been using it kind of outside in the climate, tinted, but it was out in the environment, so I didn't adjust my maintenance routine on it and didn't keep the Boeshield on there good enough. And we had some real hot humid days, and this area right here, I don't know if you can see it, but I can tell that's where I leaned down on the saw and put my forearm when I was sweaty. And these areas here are just drips of sweat off my brow that I guess I didn't see. Here's a good couple right here. These are actually kind of starting to get a nice flake cake on them. But what I've done so far is I've just wiped down the top with mineral spirits to get rid of any of the wax that was still on it, and to make it clean, and just let that dry. And I'm going to just pick a spot with this. I don't know how much elbow grease I'm going to have to use. There's many other videos on doing things like this. I just figured I'd show what I'm going to do with a real-time problem and the results. And you can see back here this dark line in here. I evidently left a piece of wood on this at some point, and I guess the moisture got to it and kind of started corroding the table right there with rust. And I'm guilty as the rest. I got real small space, so this thing ends up, when I'm not using it, ends up as a catch-all. I don't really work on it, but I use it to store things, and I need to quit doing that. And I can see right here, that looks like a footprint of a beer bottle. I know that wasn't me, but, sometimes I have friends over or whatnot, and they send, standing around, the next thing you know, they put something down, and before you know it, you pick it up immediately, and you've already got a ring. So anyway, I'm going to pick a spot. I think I'm going to pick back here, since we've got this nice dark area here. And then we've got this, I don't even know what that is, but it's a big stain of some kind. So I'm just going to do a little manageable area with this product. It kind of has a control versus what we have right here. It's about the same. And I'm going to start one application. They say to leave it on 30 to 60 seconds after you put it on. I'm not going to do any Scotch-Brite pads or anything to it. I'll probably hit this down the middle, and then I'm just going to wipe it off with a towel, which is what they say, and then see how that turns out. And if I have to get more aggressive, I'll bring out a Scotch-Brite pad or something like that. But, people are using I call them a jitterbug sander. I don't know, it's a random sander. No, it's an orbital sander, but it's not random. It just makes small circles. And they're putting Scotch-Brite pads along there to speed this thing up. Some people are using wet and dry sandpaper. I'm going to do as little as I can, obviously, just to get this. I don't really mind if there's stains on it and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it nice and flat, no pits, and slick as glass if I can get it that way to do the work. So let me set this up and do that, and then we'll see how this thing starts to turn out. Alright, well here's a quick shot. I'll try to just kind of move around this where you can see it. I put it on there like I said. I let it sit about a minute, and then just came back with a blue towel, and you can see what I got off of it. But it's going to take a little bit more elbow grease. It did lighten everything that was in here, and you can see kind of the darker stuff here. I'm a little bit irritated. I bought the absolute last bottle they had of this, and the pump sprayer doesn't work. It just starts running out onto my hand. So I'm gonna have to just kind of put it on there and wipe it around, I guess, or get another bottle to spray it on. So anyway, I'm gonna do the same test, but I'm gonna go ahead and cover this whole area with it, and then I'm gonna come in with a Scotch-Brite pad. Okay, well I'm shifting gears here. I'd mentioned, this brand new bottle. The pump sprayer didn't work on it. I started looking around my shop to try to find some type of a container I could put it in that I didn't think this acid would eat through, and lo and behold, I found the Top Saver product I was talking about that I had used, I don't know, a couple years ago. Only had to use it once, and at the time I do recall, I had to really work hard to get this thing looking pretty good, but it was after I got it from somebody else. So what I've done here, you can see fresh and new cap doesn't work. Old nasty pump works great. I did half of the saw with this Top Saver as it was, according to their directions. Spray it on, work it around with a Scotch-Brite pad, and then wipe off the excess and let it dry 3 to 5 minutes, I think is what they say. And then I cleaned out the pump and I switched them, and then I did the other half of the saw with the rust free, and I let it sit about 60 seconds, and then I hit this with a Scotch-Brite pad on the other half of the saw. And when I say I hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad, I mean I probably spent about 2 to 3 minutes on it. And this product I really couldn't see doing anything actively, but let me tell you, when I put this stuff on there, I could see it dancing around the surface. And it really was doing something. So I'm actually going to back out now and show you the towels I used to clean them off after using each product, and then the difference between one and the other. The one you're looking at here that's more brown, this is the Top Saver product, and it did only take me one towel to clean that off. And then here's where I started with the Boeshield product, and I mean it's black. And I took the majority off with this towel, but I actually had to come back with a second one and get more of this off. I didn't come back with a third because I was going to do another application. I just wanted to show this real quick. Okay, well here's a shot of the saw. Like I said, I did about half with each product. Worked on it about the same amount of time, 2 to 3 minutes, and then wiped it off. And this side here, you can see it's still, it looks better. I won't say that it doesn't look better, but there's a whole lot of staining still on it. And this was just one application. And then we'll look at the other side, and hopefully this picks up, but you can see how much nicer this side looks. And again, it was sprayed on. I let it sit 60 seconds, and then I took 2 to 3 minutes, with a green Scotch-Brite pad, and worked the surface. And let me tell you, it's daylight and dark. I mean, this side of the table right here, I'm satisfied with it right there. Like I said, I don't care about little stains and stuff like that, all that much. I just want the tabletop smooth. And let me tell you, this feels great right now, and I haven't even put any T9 on it. This side, it does not feel great. I bet if you waxed it right now, it might come up, but it's daylight and dark. I mean, to tell you, you'll have to trust me on that. And this is the new product, the Rust Free from Boeshield that I'm using, and this is the original Top Saver. Now, I've had this Top Saver for a while. I don't know if it has a shelf life, but let me tell you, right here, I mean, just calling back from my memory, I worked my butt off on, you doing this the first time with this product. I literally, no power tools, just hands here, and that's it, and working with either of these products, make sure you wear safety glasses. It's best to be in a ventilated area. Wear some chemical resistant gloves. This is acid and it will burn you. And I used for this the purple nitrile gloves. Don't use latex. Practically anything will eat through that. And I could tell the fingers were checking a little bit, but I had the stuff on them for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But the gloves never came apart, so it seemed to hold up. Those gloves held up well to this product, both of them actually. So I'm actually going to hit this now on this side of the saw with the rust-free product from Boeshield, and then I'll show the results. So like I said, I'm trying to get a decent shot in here, but you can really kind of see where things start changing in here from side to side. So I'm going to do the other half, one application, 60 seconds, let it sit, and then I'll come in with a green Scotch-Brite for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll see what's next. Okay, well I just did the other half of the saw using the rust-free product, and you can see how much better this looks down through here than when using the Top Saver product. And again, I did it the same way. Sprayed it on about 60 seconds, worked on it for just 2 to 3 minutes. That's all I did, and I got a pretty good surface. Now this table you're looking at, you can see these hash marks in here. These are the original milling marks. This thing was not ground, it was just sent through a big planer milling machine, you know, so I have to kind of go in different directions because they are a little raised. I can feel them, but you know, like I said, with the Top Saver product, you know, this was still really sticky, and I don't know if you can hear that wisping. You know, it is smooth, it feels good, both sides, whereas before, you know, it was just chop, 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 grabbing my hands. So I'm really pleased so far with this product. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more coat and clean this surface off again with the Scotch-Brite and some towels, and then I'll show the finished product. I'm really only doing this to show what a second application will do. You know, I'm a little curious myself, since I really did only spend, you know, about 10 or 15 minutes on this at best. And you can see all that mark I had in here for that wood. I'm going to pay a little mind to this attention down here and spend a little bit of time working on it, because like I said, you know, they got cross hatches in here. You know, it's not just all the grain isn't going in one direction. So I'm going to try to work that area as well, and then I'll show it, and then we'll wrap up my thoughts on it. Well, all right, check this out. Well, I just did another coat, like I said, out of curiosity. I was fine, you know, where it was. I'm gonna have to look at the video, or you know, do your own video watching here, because you know, if you ask me, it does even look better. This area right here was a pretty heavy flaky stain, and it is, you know, it's still visible, but it's almost gone. Somewhere in this arena was a bottle ring stain. It's absolutely gone. And then let me kind of walk around the back. You can kind of see the light dusting off of it. You know, this has not been waxed or anything. I just finished. And like I said, you know, we had this really dark stain here where I had a piece of wood, and I said I was going to work in this area. And, you know, if you look real close, you can kind of see where it was, but nothing compared to what it was. And like I said, I just did this by hand. You know, I didn't use any power tools or anything like that. And if I had to guess, you know, elbow grease time, let's say I did 3 minutes, and then the last time I probably did, you know, 5 minutes, you know, across both sides, working in specific areas, concentrating a little bit. You know, so probably 11 or 12 minutes, you know, is all the elbow time I had in this, and I wasn't even getting on it. You know, I was literally just scrubbing, and if I got to a harder stain like this, you know, I'd press down and kind of work it a little bit with that Scotch-Brite pad. But all in all, I do think this is a great product. You know, I mean, you see real time, you know, what it's turned this saw into. You know, the top kind of looked like this right here, and now it looks like this. You know, I do need to address my wings, and these are always kind of hard to do because they're like this. Alright, well, this was one of my less thought out videos. You know, I was just in this project, so I'd figured I'd film it to maybe give you guys some information. You know, I'm eventually going to get back to my desk here, but I just wanted to take a little piece of wood. You know, I told you that, you know, how well this felt right now, how slick it feels. You know, I have not cleaned it off with mineral spirits yet and then put on my Boeshield T9 and waxed it, but you know, just look at this. I mean, that is just nice and slick right there, and I haven't even put my top coat on it yet. Okay, hands down, between these two products I've outlined, the Top Saver and the Rust Free. Rust Free gets it. Flying colors. This is an absolute great product, as you've seen. this was, sorry, I'm just going to tell you, this was $12.59. You know, it's not cheap, it's not free, but you know, there's tons of elbow grease that you do not have to do with this product, and to get some rust, and you know, it does actually remove some stains, as I've noted. You know, I think it's well worth the money. You know, there are other options you can explore. I'm sure I'll get some comments on people that use this, that, and the other, and that's fine. You know, this is just what I used, and I like easy. So if I don't have to spend 3 hours working on something and waste my time, you know, for $13 roughly, you know, plus tax, I'm going to spend the $13. So I've done that. This is an awesome product. I really didn't even use that much of it. I can't quantify what I've used. The top saver, like I said, I'd used it before and I worked my tail off with it. I don't have a cost on this product other than to say, well, I do remember when I bought it, it did come with, you know, some little squares of Scotch-Brite pads and maybe a pair of gloves. I don't really recall, you know, but I want to say this was between $25 and $30, I'm guessing. You know, Woodcraft does not sell this anymore, or I would have probably bought some more of this since I knew, you know, that I'd used it before, but they have this one. So aside from the pump sprayer not working, which is kind of irrelevant, you know, this stuff absolutely does work. Now on the protection and the waxing, you know, they're folks that use like a Johnson's paste wax. You know, I've used it. Hey, you know, it works great. Smear it on the surface in a light coat, let it sit, come back, buff it off with it like a terry cloth rag, and it does work good. But you know, I got sold on this at the store, you know, I don't know, a couple of years ago, this T9, and it actually says here on the can that it's $17.99, but I think it's actually about $18.99 now. But this stuff really does work, you know, if you maintain your tools. You know, like I said, I kind of let mine go, and I'm paying a price now, but it's a small price to get this thing back looking better than it ever has. You know, I bought this saw used from a friend, you know, and it has honestly never looked as good on the top right now as it does. And you know, I haven't even put this protectant on it, you know, which, like I said, this is kind of like a liquid paraffin in a can, and it's got some, you know, carrier agents in it, some types of solvents. But you know, this stuff does work great. You can do long-term storage with it. You know, put a heavy coat on it, don't even wipe it off. If you want to clean it off later, come back with some mineral spirits, clean it off, and then you can put on another light coat. You know, so where I'm at in my project here is to wipe down my saw top with mineral spirits to pick up any of the residue that I may have put in there, if anything got lifted off the surface, and then I'm going to follow it with this T9. So, you know, like I said, these are both from Boeshield, and this one's out the back door. I'll give it away to a neighbor or something. This stuff works. I wouldn't hesitate to get it. I hope this helps you guys out. Sorry this was a little bit long for what it is. There's plenty of other ideas out there. I just wanted to give my take on these two products. So thanks for watching and good luck.